Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and television shows and release a video every day from Monday to Friday. Today I want to talk about the newest episode of The Mandalorian. Just as a heads up, I intend to go through all of the details of the show, and thus this video will contain spoilers, so if you want to avoid them, head out now. Also, I want to start up a new series doing a full review of this season of The Mandalorian. I'll be reviewing each episode in depth. If you are interested, come check it out. So without further ado, let's jump into it. This episode is the first episode in Season 3, and it's called Chapter 17, The Apostate. It was written by Jon Favreau and is based on the franchise created by George Lucas. The episode was directed by Rick Famuyiwa. We start off with a ceremony to induct new members into the Children of the Watch. A young boy can be seen without a helmet, surrounded by Mandalorians of all shapes, sizes, and ages. The ceremony is led by Rook Kast, otherwise known as the Armorer. She places the helmet on the boy's head, and then a giant crocodile emerges from the water and eats one of the Mandalorians. Chaos breaks out as the Watch attempt to subdue the creature, the warriors ushering the children to the caves. We watch as the beast brushes off their blaster attacks, bites at them, and sends them flying with her tail. The animation on the crocodile beast is great. It reacts to the Watch's strategies, and the textures on its skin look realistic. Its movement is fantastic, the way it lunges at them and snaps its mouth shut. There were a few stupid moments where the Mandalorians on the beach kept blasting at it with their little toy guns, and I was scratching my head as to what they were thinking, but the overall feel of the fight is that the Mandalorians underwent this epic struggle for survival. The beast looks great, the fight looks great, and it ends with the Mandalorian showing up in his spiffy new ship to save the day. Then, he has another stoic conversation with the Armorer about redeeming himself. She tries to warn him off because Mandalore is the only place he can find redemption, but it was destroyed. He shows her an artifact from the surface of Mandalore and tells her a story about a traveler who claimed to go there. Then he assures her that he'll find out the truth and return when he has purged himself in the mine waters of Mandalore, and she gives him her blessing. It's a quick scene. The story gets across what will likely be the journey for this season, and then it moves on. It doesn't make a big deal out of Mando's reunion with the Watch, and nothing has changed between them during the time off. From there we get a scene of Mando and Grogu flying through space. They see some space whales in hyperlight, which is kind of neat, and then they arrive at Navarro to meet an old friend. There, we get a long-awaited reunion between Greef Karga and Mando. Greef tells Mando what he's been up to, reforming Navarro into a respectable trade hub. The two talk, and Greef offers Mando a place to stay, but Mando refuses and starts telling him about his new mission. Then they're interrupted by a droid claiming there are pirates outside. The two head out and confront them. The pirates haven't gotten the message about Navarro not welcoming them anymore. When Greef tries to de-escalate things, one of the pirates challenges him. We get a beautiful standoff between the two groups, with tension filling the air. Carl Weathers gives a chilling monologue to the pirate and steps to the challenge. It leads to Mando and Greef gunning down several pirates and letting the last leave with his life. I loved this scene. It's a return to what Star Wars used to be, a space western with a nuanced sense of morality. Greef and Mando callously gun down all of the pirates, even the ones who didn't draw, and they don't think twice about it. They could be seen as vicious or bloodthirsty, and there might have been a better way. But in a galaxy without a strong police presence, people like Greef and Mando have to stand up and send a message to pirates. The two return to talking, and Greef offers Mando a job as the marshal. When Mando asks what happened to Cara Dune, Greef tells him that Special Forces recruited her. Mando refuses the job and asks Greef about getting IG-11 back online. Yeah, remember that assassin droid from Season 1? Mando wants that guy as his companion for his trip to Mandalore. There's a small scene of Mando trying and failing to repair it, and it going haywire, and then they take it to someone who actually knows how to fix droids. There's a mildly humorous scene of Mando talking to the repairman, and eventually they agree to fix the droid if he finds them a memory chip. Mando thanks Greef for the help with IG-11 and heads off with Grogu. The two are flying through space, Mando teaching Grogu about the different dials on the dash, when some pirates show up to disrupt this beautiful father-son bonding moment. Mando takes off and a space battle ensues. 6 pirates try and fail to take out Mando as he outmaneuvers and destroys each of them one by one. It's a fantastic scene that showed off the abilities of Mando's new ship, his ability as a pilot, and introduces a new villain, Pirate King Swamp Thing. That's when Mando teaches Grogu an important lesson: never trust a pirate. The two blast off into hyperspace and Mando heads for a new planet. They arrive on an Earth-like planet, rain and fog overtaking the shores and a castle appearing in the distance. Mando describes it as a Mandalorian castle. They land, and it's there that we see Bo-Katan Kryze for the first time since losing the Darksaber to Mando. She's lost her army, her followers, and her spirit. She sits upon her throne, a broken and beaten woman. Mando asks for her help, and she refuses. She tells him to take his Darksaber and lead their people in her place. She rants about how the Children of the Watch and all the other factions crippled Mandalore and tore it apart. She lets her anger out on him, but provides him with the location of the mines. He promises to find the truth of Mandalore's fate and leaves. As Mando leaves, she bids him farewell and continues to wallow in self-pity, alone in her empty halls. This episode was fantastically written and pulls out all the best parts of Star Wars. It's got a space monster, new alien races, a solid western moment, and a spaceship battle. It's literally everything I love about Star Wars, and it sets up the season for some wonderful storylines. I expect we'll see Mando attempting to redeem himself and in the process becoming the leader of the Mandalorians. Bo-Katan is likely going to have a big arc this season, which I'm pumped for. She's a great character who's been through a lot over the years, and seeing Katie Sackhoff get to shine in the role is fantastic. She played the sullen and defeated Bo-Katan perfectly. Grogu didn't get to do much more than look cute in this episode, but Mando gets to participate in a standoff, shoot down a giant space croc, and fight off pirates. It's a big episode for him and his story. It's exciting and consistent, and the acting was well done for the most part. There are a few extras among the pirates that could be better, but Carl Weathers gets a big moment and nails it as Grief. Pedro Pascal gets to play a stoic Mando trying to set things right, and Katie Sackhoff has a big start too. There's also a ton of stunts going on during the battle between the Mandalorians and the space croc that were well done. Behind the writing and acting is a solid production. The soundtrack is the usual gold standard Star Wars music that we're used to. It's got a Western vibe to it and tends to be a little less pronounced than other Star Wars projects, but when the music kicks in, it's highly effective. Visually, the episode has a lot going on. The camera work is smooth, consistent, and takes up a lot of unique angles. It captures the action well and gets in close when it needs to for emotional close-ups. I've already talked about the battles a little bit, but I just want to comment on the animation and CGI. It's really well done, and the episode doesn't overuse it. The space battle cuts between real actors and the CGI to get the reaction shots, and the city has real sets on top of CGI green screens. The blend works well to create the desired effects. Overall, the episode is highly entertaining and left me wanting more. It's a solid return to classic themes and morality of Star Wars, and I hope it sets an example for the kind of content we're going to get from Disney going forward. 8 out of 10. Tell me what your thoughts were in the comments below. Did you like the action? What are your hopes for this season? I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.